I would not encourage anyone to hold themselves just for the fear of the knowledge not there, they won't understand, or it's going to be expensive only.
Right.
It's not that. Globally, the recommendation is 20% into art or art-related alternative investments.
Correct.
So it's one of the leading asset classes, which holds a lot of opportunities. Bollywood is very popular, even in Africa. Middle East, we all know.
Yeah.
China, even Japan,
Yeah.
and Africa. In fact, a lot of Africans are able to understand Hindi because of the
right.
Bollywood.
They do a lot of their versions of Hindi songs and all of that.
We were very widely covered in British media as well. And people were very fond of such things because I think it's a few years older than Hollywood.
Do you think it's the right thing to buy an art piece for somebody else, or it's a very personal thing?
You know, it's very, very important because one, it's a unique thing, and someone has selected for you. It's uniquely made, which only you have. So I personally think it's a very nice thing to acquire, and if you get it as a gift, nothing better.
What is the most unexpected category in Conferro's catalog?
You can say vintage advertisements. That's something which we see every day.
Would you like to throw some light on NFT and a brief definition of understanding of what NFTs are?
I think gradually it would change the market. One, it records the provenance, but then it gives free liquidity and sort of enlarges the market. You find a lot of new people acquiring tokens or shares of those artworks.
Hello everyone, I am Nitisha and I welcome you to Inside the Extraordinary. We live in a world obsessed with what's new. New launches, new destination, new trends. But then there is a charm to the old, to the vintage, to the things that were carefully kept. I want you to think about the oldest object in your home. A coin, a photograph, a gramophone that doesn't work. Or in fact a newspaper somebody kept for a reason nobody knows. Now ask yourself, do you know what is the object's worth? Not in money, but in memory, in history, and in culture. I think most of us don't. And that is exactly what today's guest has spent his life doing, filling this gap. His family has been collecting for 3 generations. He runs an auction house that specializes in one of the world's oldest civilization, India. A cultural archaeologist, if I may call him, who believes that the most extraordinary pieces of Indian history are not in museums, they are in your home, in a box, in a cupboard, waiting to be discovered. Welcome to the show, Sharan. It's genuinely wonderful to have you here. So let me start with the most simplest question. What does art mean to you? How do you define your passion for art and heritage?
Thank you. It's quite esoteric, as we know, but I think to define art for me is again not too easy because you develop a relationship over time. So I think this is for me just something which is unfathomable. A sort of a deep dive you take in and develop a relationship over the years. I've been a novice all along as I grew up. But then, looking at art and viewing more works is how I sort of developed a taste, sort of a liking and interest. So I think I would describe it as something very, very deep, which occupies your subconscious, this thing. And I think that's the kind of connect which, one can have with art.
Right, and you mentioned art was with you from the very childhood. You are from the 3rd generation of the family of collectors. Would you like to take me back to your childhood? How was it growing up in a family where art was such an integral part of your life?
So yes, both art and I think a lot of heritage stuff, we've sort of grown up through that. So, it was quite natural for us to have artworks alongside.
Absolutely.
But for me, it was quite tough to understand those things. So
Okay.
we just used to know that, this is quite important, aesthetically strong or quite valuable. But I think it was like later on when I was like deeply involved into it, when I got that kind of interest and sort of a knack of identifying art. So I would say initially it was just like got used to with artworks all around.
So you thought of changing your career path to something else except art? Was there in your mind something?
It wasn't planned, but given that I was in London, which is a city of art, history, architecture, that changed a lot of my mind because we've been mostly in commerce and finance and marketing
Right.
backgrounds, and I was looking for something in that. But I found that that city to be very vibrant,
Absolutely.
an art hub of the world, and I found a lot of opportunities as well as the challenge which Indian art was facing, that not enough was happening outside of the country. And yes, there was an idea, a bit of passion that more should be done for Indian art, and just not sitting in India, but also taking things outside of the world.
They have it in their culture, we have it in our heritage. In fact, every city, every place, every corner of India has a lot of heritage, and then that's what you're bringing it to the world. I would like to talk about the eye of the collector. There's an eye that you look at the object. How do you know that this art piece is worth something? When you're standing in front of an art piece, what is going in your head?
A lot of things, in fact. It's the first 5 to 10 seconds, I would say, first 5 seconds, in fact, that you recognize that's a work which is strong, and you're engaged with it, and then you're totally deeply into it. I like
Right.
standing near a work, looking at it. Often for a very long time. Obviously, there are time foundations, but it's something very deep, and I look not only in totality, but I like to look at details, things deeply, especially the palette, the strokes,
Right.
the texture is something which attracts me more.
Right.
I'm very fond of abstracts, so that is again open to interpretation and meaning,
Correct.
which is why it becomes more and more engaging. And you often have a lot of things depicted inside an artwork.
Right.
So we often do not notice, but most of the time, every dot has a meaning, right?
Correct.
And in fact, more than one meanings. And you see how he's defined his palette, what he wants to say, how things are open to interpretation. So that is what consumes you for most of the time. And I like to look at things in detail, look at various aspects of it, spend time with it, and it's a nice experience. You can't describe. Everyone has a unique eye.
And that's cultivated over years when you have so many experts around you with, in fact, in your family as well. This is what you capture and gather or gauge from
Yes,
them as well.
I've seen my father very fond of any artistic thing. Could be simplest of things to carving. We've got a lot of carvings in our house, and he's often the one taking us back in the childhood to various interesting events.
Right.
So he's also he loves creativity. He's quite creative. So that's how we've grown up.
Correct.
But I think the real understanding of the art has come after looking at the works, and also we used to do events where the critic used to speak about the works.
Right.
So initially it was just like typical boring lecture, right? I'm sure it's with everyone. It's difficult to begin understanding tough art, especially.
Right.
So I didn't see too much of decorative art of emerging artists,
Right.
but we spent a lot of time with masters, which is one of the most interesting aspects, and also quite difficult to understand.
Correct.
Which is why people do take time all across the world to connect with Indian art. But it's very amazing. More I feel, more complex the work, the better it is. Brings most of the artist and the collector. So I think it's a journey. It has happened
Yes.
through time,
Right.
and it doesn't end at art as well. Because I've seen that kind of feeling with me as well. Because initially we did mostly fine art,
Right.
and then gradually diversified into collectibles.
It's a whole journey, and it's very relatable for the people who want to invest and collect art in future. They will be able to relate to it. And in fact, rightly said, art is very personal to what you are. What you see in an art piece must not be what I see, but then that makes it even more beautiful.
Yes, it does not have a language.
Right.
So, it's open to definitions. So I think it can be described, obviously, yes, and I think one should learn more about it, read more
Right.
about it. But once you start looking at art, that's how you develop a relationship. You develop a knack of spotting works, an eye for art. And that's something which not a lot of people can define through
Absolutely.
words.
That's correct.
But that's a unique feeling for everyone.
And I think from that perspective and that kind of eye, something like Conferro is born. What was that gap in the market that you identified, and what's your vision with Conferro?
I think a lot of things I found, because, and that's something which not a lot of people talk about, the market was predominantly, not even 0.1%. And the idea of a lot of people into art was predominantly targeting, the connoisseurs, the existing collectors, and who's who of the art world. But I think it was a lack of knowledge, which was predominantly, the main focus. And I felt that one single thing and that hand-holding which people need can change the market. We very strongly felt that it's basically the new collectors who would shape the art market in the art world, the next few generations more than the typical connoisseurs and the collector world we talk about. I also felt, given that we're one of the oldest civilizations with a very rich history and a very rich art space, we've lost things in between. Obviously, we've been a growing economy, got independent, a very new art market as such. Hardly began late 90s when the first auctions took place. So a lot of work needed to be done, and it was gradually with a lot of effort, one by one, that you need to handhold people, educate people, and also at that time most of the work was on consignment, which typically is the base of the art industry globally. So we wanted to be, collectors ourselves, have that conviction and demonstrate that, with holding of the works, you not only learn more about aesthetics, you also make a lot of financial gain, and basically you imbibe and inculcate the habit of collecting.
Correct.
So, that's what we want, that it should not be only for elite or a select few people. And it's no longer that way. I think things are changing very fast. And I would credit to the new generations, the millennials especially, who are changing and shaping the art market. That's what we used to predict more than a decade back. New collectors, millennials, it's a part of lifestyle now, right? So it's no longer for select few. I think it's becoming a trend which people love to experiment and learn more about it. And with the advent of a lot of new platforms, infrastructure, and social media, there's enough knowledge to be gained.
Correct. We will definitely talk about art as an investment, and maybe for the first timers who are just entering into the market as something that you can offer as gift in the coming segment. But when you mention that a lot of art has been lost in history, either robbed, destroyed, or maybe lost in translation, do you sometimes feel, I wish I could go back in history and preserve it?
Definitely. A lot of art was taken away from India.
Correct.
It's lying in museums all across the world. It's also lying with a lot of hidden collections all across, I would say. And even more importantly, I would say we've lost the knowledge part of it.
Right.
So, I mean, we also one of the largest collectors of vintage publications.
Right.
So not a lot of people know. One of the first few universities have been from our civilizations, but have been totally destroyed. And India is one of the only major countries, major economies as well, whose publications also have not been stored.
Correct.
So even not with the requisite institutions as well. And if it is, it's not preserved well or kept well, and it's not archived at all. So that's something, we've taken in a big way. A lot of work has been happening in the past 15 odd years to archive, digitize, and we're doing a lot of projects with that as well. So it's not only heritage, but also historical content and data,
Correct.
which again is very important and going to be even more important as time goes by.
Absolutely.
So that's something which we've lost. And you see a lot of heritage artworks, likes of Raja Ravi Verma, Amrita Shekhil. It's very hard to find.
Right.
So it's good as an art person, for things to be rare. Valuations are high, of course, but you still ought to have a lot more heritage and a lot of art knowledge and history and content, which even today things are missing, which a lot of people do regret. But I think it's important to, change course from now on and create the right institutions which, collect, preserve, pass it on to the next generations, and create and document those kind of histories. So it becomes easier for the new generations. Yes, and that infrastructure is coming now. I think it's quite good for India to have all of that, and integrating with the global art market as well. It would still take time to be at that level, but I think it's in the right track.
And people like you are doing just the right thing to preserve the history. And art is also, India has one of the biggest movie industry, Bollywood, and you also deal with Bollywood memorabilia. I would want to talk about why movie props or maybe literature or magazines or movie posters are not, they should have been, but not so popularized. I mean, I can think of a story where your father offered an entire house to a man in exchange of a movie poster from 1957. Tell me about that story as well.
So yeah, I mean he's a crazy collector, no doubt about it, and I've seen that closely with him. So you're talking about my passion, but that becomes small when you're with him.
Right.
And he's a tireless collector. He'll finish work and go all around to collect. So I mean I remember he offered a house to someone in exchange of something which he was looking to sell a lot of things. But when he got to know he's hiding the main things, so that's what he did. And I think it's very important, and I don't blame the people here. People would not buy until, things are offered to them. So, unfortunately, we've not preserved our heritage.
Right.
So until you preserve, document, present, you can't blame the collectors. So that's one of the most important things. Memorabilia, again, one, because of the rarity. Secondly, because of lack of knowledge. We didn't have the right institutions to take that up. So we launched that first in London for quite a few reasons. One, we marked the centenary of Bollywood. 100 years, again, is a very big feat, which people did not know. We were very widely covered in British media as well. And people were very fond of such things, because I think it's a few years older than Hollywood. And you won't believe we had an amazing turnout in all our events. We did media events, private previews, collector dinners, public previews, and the auctions. We got a lot of interest from Russia because of the Raj Kapoor Connect in 60s. And not a lot of people know. It's very popular. Bollywood is very popular, even in Africa. Mid East, we all know. China, even Japan. And Africa. In fact, a lot of Africans are able to understand Hindi because of the Bollywood.
They do a lot of their versions of Hindi songs.
Yes. So I think there was a lot of excitement, interest to welcome such things from India, and I was quite glad to sort of mark and record in history an event marking the 100 years of Bollywood.
I think the movie that the poster that we were talking about was of Mother India, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Mother India. I mean, we've also have original poster paintings which were painted at that time to promote the artwork. So there's entire history, a lot of interesting history associated with that. And it's also an artwork which should be celebrated. Lobby cards, which not a lot of people know, are becoming even more valuable because they're even more rare than posters. Even in posters, you have a lot of interesting poses. So once you go in, sort of delve down into it, you understand which poses are rare, the history behind those things. We had those synopsis booklets which had a summary of a movie or songs or the cast of it. A lot of memorabilia, tickets, trophies, autographed. And those are the things which, we thought should be celebrated. And I think that changed the industry, because a lot of people then started doing auctions here in India, followed by Bloomsbury, who's one of the largest auction houses of stamps and memorabilia in London. So a few years later, they also did a Bollywood auction. So that's how you create the industry, you sort of circulate the content around it. We had a lot of critics who used to take people around Bollywood, its evolution. And it's also very important to understand the society at that time, which movies did reflect more than anything else. So I think, yes, that's quite important, and then very interesting to have gone through that. And it was very encouraging in terms of the response, and motivated me to do a lot of other things.
I also want to understand what is the purpose of art, and having said that, I will come back to understanding of live experience with art. I mean, most of us have maybe seen Starry Night's Van Gogh on a phone cover, Hussein's Horses on a calendar, Mona Lisa in a movie maybe. But then what is it to be standing in front of painting an artwork, to experience that, the brief transportation that you have in the history? Would you like to explain what are people missing if they have not gone through an experience like that?
This is a a very free form of expression, and it's also an intellectual simulation, which a lot of people do not realize. So it's just not just vibrancy and entertainment. Once you connect with art deeply, it's very, very deep, it's very interesting, and it's very complex. And it captures your subconscious mind. It's also considered to be a stress buster. And I think the best way is to look at the artwork more and more, even if it's just one artwork, just spend some time, 10-15 minutes looking at it. This is how you learn art. And then you realize, you listen to theories and stories as to, how useful is art and all of that. But the kind of connect and relationship you can build with it, it sort of holds you there.
Right.
So, there are a lot of mad people, standing for hours in front of an artwork.
Right.
So, it depends on which side you are. If you don't understand, it's a mad guy. But when you're out there, you're having a conversation with the work speaks out to you, and you're totally sort of engrossed into it. It has a lot of interesting effect on your mind, your behavior, subconscious mind, even your intellectual development as well.
Right.
Plus a form of expression which I think more important than words, and also where the limitations of a written content stops.
Correct.
That's where art begins.
Right. When you deal with objects which were not originally meant to be called as an art or an art piece, like let's say a gramophone, a typewriter, how do you differentiate a normal object from an art piece, or what is the journey that object has to take to become an art piece?
In order to be a collectible item, it needs to be rare, worthy to be collected, and also has a sort of history behind it. So if it at least beginning, say, half a century is when you can call it vintage. Heritage when it's over 100 years old technically. Okay. So yes, if it's an important piece of history which has an important effect or a part of its evolution, is a collectible or rare item, is when it qualifies for it.
What is the most unexpected category in Conferro's catalog for people to think that, okay, this also belongs in the category of art?
You can say vintage advertisements. That's something which we see every day, but we don't realize it's also an important collectible. It's shaped our society and also influenced by it. It's also an artwork, it's a piece of history.
Right.
And it's also a sort of a corporate dossier, a marketing element as well. So it's gone through a lot. It's seen its own evolution. It's nice, interesting, it's funky at the same time. And that's something which you can that's not the first category which anyone would have. Right. And it's rare as well, so not a lot of people are doing that.
Correct.
Which is why it makes all the more interesting. And once you go deep down it, you find a lot of interesting things. How the society was, how things did evolve, how the marketing shaped, and how it's integrated with the rest of the society. Publications, for that matter, where these were published. Right. Most of the brands do not have their own history, and they didn't realize what worked for them in the past, what not. A lot of funny, interesting stories around that. So that's something which almost everyone likes, and that's something we're looking to promote as well.
Do you think photograph or photography is a form of art that you can display, or it has some historic value?
Yes, it is, and I think it's gaining a lot of momentum. It's something which it's still relatively up and coming, because I think it's still evolving. A lot of new interesting things coming up with the advent of technology. I think yes, new things are possible, but it also makes previous things more rare. So you've got a lot of events now focusing on photography, and a lot of institutions sort of supporting those artists. And that's a form of art which a lot of people are learning.
Right.
And it's very, very interesting if you sort of learn more about it.
I that's my passion. If somebody asks me what's your passion, I will call it photography. But when you mention the technology, I'll mention artificial intelligence, how it has come into picture. Has it helped the artist or auction houses like yours to authenticate the fakes and maybe ease out on understanding the value of an art piece or an object or a collectible?
Not really. That's something which is a very complex process, which again involves human mind and a lot of human minds in most of the occasions. So I would say AI is still an artificial intelligence in art. I mean, there are interesting uses when it comes to, say, curation content or creativity, but in terms of, say, documentations or assessing an artwork, deciphering from fake to a genuine one,
So you
is
should not
something.
rely
Yes,
on.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's still at a stage where it's still new, and I think it needs to be integrated with the technology. And when it does, I think it'll be more useful.
Right.
But you would still need human intervention to sort of discover the artwork.
I will also, during my research, I discovered, and it astonishes me to imagine how an MF Sen painting was hung in a Norwegian hospital for over 50 years, unnoticed, and it recently got sold for 150 crores. Do you think a lot of such artworks are just lost in plain sights?
Yes, I mean, a lot of them. And given you mentioned about Hussein, so there's an interesting story. He gifted to a tea stall in a very remote place,
Right.
because those were very harsh times for the artists.
Right.
So they couldn't afford tea at times. And then in lieu of the payment, he gifted an artwork
As a barter.
to a chaiwala. So a lot of such interesting stories. I mean, Gaitonde, for example, used to struggle sell his artwork for even 2 rupees, and they didn't have slippers in their feet often. So those are the hardships, that's the kind of time these people have gone through, and they've seen success very late, or some of them even
After
after.
death, right?
Yes.
Like Van Gogh. He painted in
yes.
an asylum. I mean,
Exactly.
who would believe? That's also.
And these are the artists we're
Yeah.
talking are easily 40 crore plus per work,
Absolutely.
especially the key works going into auctions now.
Right.
So that's how it is.
Correct. These are the more known artists. Maybe, in fact, Picasso also, how he was such a brilliant artist who was able to replicate a lot of live art or human art form, and later he converted into more of a graphic and abstract kind of painter, which people know of. Like, people say that this though I can also paint. But then they don't see the bigger picture, that where he has come from, at what age he got admission in an art school and all of that. So that's the entire journey of an artist also.
Yeah, and you got to see that particular era where the artist was painting.
Yeah.
So today we have access to hundreds of art forms, and those are very readily available. You can learn about it, view those things. But that was the time when the art movements used to be there for
Right.
half a century. Art forms used to dominate that particular century.
And he was the trend breaker.
Yes, and he was a trend breaker, and things were evolving that time.
Right.
And even an artist goes through a journey. He experiments, learns, often fails, reinvents himself. So there's no one typical form an artist is supposed to stick to.
Right.
He also evolves, and discovers new things. So a lot of experimentation goes in, a lot of work goes behind the scenes. And then I think it's good to sort of give new structures to your work, and bring new things as well.
Right.
Obviously holding on to your main forte and techniques. You talk about Picasso, there's Gaitonde we were talking about. So, I mean, his work again is quite bland to a novice,
Right.
a newcomer, right?
Right.
But he used to have multi-layering technique, which very, very few people in Indian art have been able to do.
Right.
And you won't realize, even looking at the work, that so often he used to have so many layers on the work, but it still used to look very thin,
Correct.
which even he couldn't reproduce according to
Right.
him.
Right.
So those are the interesting things which people need to know, how these things have been produced, what goes on behind that, and in order
Right.
to be of that level to produce things, an artist also goes through decades of painful hard work, and
Absolutely.
so the entire skill set has to be
Perfecting the skills.
yes, deployed there.
Right, yeah. Because if you're mentioning that, recently on social media, I was just looking at this marble image of a woman which had a whale, but then it was crafted in such a way. The whale was also crafted in marble, but that was a beautiful artistic piece. I'm sure that guy who has created it has taken a lot of years to master his skills. So yeah, like you said, over the years you cultivate.
Yes,
these
and often
things.
you have masterpieces taking a lot of time and effort, and you have certain series where yes, the works are being produced, but I mean that technique or the first set of works has taken a lot of time. And there's some pieces which are very easily connectable. You've been able to relate to it.
Right.
So you know that it's very nice. A lot of work has gone into it, but often you have a lot of interesting things which you need to learn more about, and it feels very very sort of common at times, very simple to create. I mean, I also thought why this is selling initially
Yeah, right.
for crores, and I could have drawn it. I means I'm a very bad painter, probably the worst in the world, and I used to think I mean nothing special in that.
Right.
But until you sort of learn more about it, which is why it's very interesting, and it's a sort of a new world in itself. Each category we're talking about, you talk about say publications or vintage ads or memorabilia, it has the entire world into it. Makes it all the more interesting. Yes.
And we'll also introduce NFTs as a category. So in 2021, BEEPLE'S artwork, which was a combination of 5,000 individual artwork, I believe, got sold for, I'm not sure, $69 million?
Yeah,
And that was when NFT exploded. Would you like to throw some light on NFT and a brief definition of understanding of what NFTs are?
See, NFT is a non-fungible token. So it's basically a digital token on blockchain, which records the provenance of that particular artwork or whatever object it is. And I think this industry, the NFT especially, right, and especially at that time, has gone through a lot of speculation initially. And I'm glad a lot of things have filtered out. So we were also sitting on the fence at that time, looking at how things were progressing. And you would have a lot of graphic designers in the name of digital artists,
Right.
producing anything and everything. And I think there's a lot of speculation to achieve those kind of pricing initially. But those were just sort of digital art without any aesthetics, meaning, or history, which a lot of people had been trading alongside, some people in art, a few leading auction houses, some leading names in blockchain. So a lot went into it, which I think destroyed the industry. What has happened now, and it's the way it's shaping in the last couple of years, it's evolved into a sort of asset-backed industry, right? So whether it's real estate or an art or a collectible, any object of heritage or anything under the sun which is backed by an actual physical asset. So that makes it more strong because the underlying asset is in trading.
Yeah, it's
but then,
tangible.
Yes, it's tangible. It's backed by a digital token,
Right.
which I think that is a very interesting way to sort of introduce to the market, because I think gradually it would change the market. One, it records the provenance, but then it gives this free liquidity and sort of enlarges the market. You find a lot of new people acquiring tokens or shares of those
who
artworks.
are more interested in crypto might.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, you cannot buy outrightly necessarily an artwork. You would not want to or able to deploy that kind of money. So you can't completely own an artwork. So that's understandable. But a lot of people want to own, right? They want to be part of the ownership and trade that. So I think it democratizes the market, which is why we're also working in that model. So, publications, for example, art, for example. So not a lot of people are able to learn quickly, but a lot of people do want to try or own, they're passionate about it, lack knowledge. So they buy fractions through NFT.
But, okay. You can do like partial.
Partial. So you can
ownership.
sell your own stake
Right.
without exchanging the artwork, just like it happens in shares.
Correct.
So it's become more structured, it's regulated, it's on blockchain, which is a permanent
You
thing.
still have an asset, but you have not paid fully.
Yes. So I think if it's backed by an asset, you have something strong underlying.
Right.
And that digital token is in addition to it. Vis-a-vis, you just charge for something which is virtual, is not metaverse, for example.
Right.
The market is very receptive to things which are asset backed, and then you have a history behind it. there's something strong, aesthetically strong. So if it's something really nice for people to sort of get into it, something which they would love to get into, but there's a hindrance of surprise or the first time or whatever it is. And I think through these NFTs, it becomes quite easy because you can just flip over in a second online rather than exchanging artworks, logistics, and taking care of all of that.
Yeah, because I think there are a lot of Indian artists also who are doing NFTs. One of the artists is just 14 years old, and she earned her first million through her NFT work. I think his name is Amritpal Singh. He also does a lot of candy and toy-based artwork, and they're very popular. Yeah. What will you suggest the 25-year-old digital artist? Should they approach the NFT route or go the traditional gallery approach, or both? How?
I think both, and even a lot of other ways. A lot of artists are creating their own market as well. There's no harm to show things yourself as well. A lot of artists are selling very high-priced art only through social media as well. So I think it's a very innovative world, and being an artist, you can be creative in marketing as well. So not restricting yourself. Yes, it depends on the art form. I think it's more of digital. You need to have the NFT route.
Right.
But if you are creating physical, I think it's not bad to sort of discover the traditional route and then add the NFT element, which is sort of an add-on to it.
It's more safer also.
Yes, and then you sort of enlarge the base, the accessibility to a lot of new young crowd who are into, say, blockchain or NFTs, want to sort of look at that art and not too much with the traditional world. So I think it could be a blend of these two.
I would also like to talk about the art market. How art market in India is growing as per numbers, and in the world it's quite low, it's shrinking. Do you have any opinions on that?
I mean, yes, global art market, I mean, last 2 years it went down slightly higher, but I think that kind of momentum is not there. Obviously, it has achieved some sort of a peak, and that rhythm is already there because it's a very old market, and because of the global turbulence, it's ought to get slow, right? In India, interestingly to an extent, even strangely, I would say, it's really very hot. It's been growing almost always, especially in the long run. Because we're comparatively a new market. It's very undervalued compared to the global market, the Western and the Chinese counterparts. But it has been growing consistently in every way. But especially after COVID, the market is really very hot. Prices have gone from 3 to 5 times within last 5 odd years. A big chunk in the valuation gain.
Right. Just the artwork or maybe the collectible market. Do you think it's still
even
undervalued?
Both. I mean, we talk about collectibles. One of the fastest growing collectible markets is vinyls in India.
Right.
Last, I think, 13, 14 odd years, it's growing very, very strong. And
why is it so? People are into that nostalgia mode.
So I think a couple of reasons. One, there's more awareness.
Right.
So until now, it was a sort of a hobby of select few. So now people are collecting as well. So the traditional listeners, they want to collect as well. So there are certain pieces for collections, something which they would want to hear, and it's no more an old man's job now. A lot of new people are looking at it.
And I know some of them,
So say it's an experience. You have, if it's especially a vintage vinyl, and even other vinyls, it's the first pressing. So that sound quality is much better than what we listen to digital and all the stuff.
Correct.
So that experience is what people want to have, playing it on a gramophone, preferably an original gramophone. And with easy logistics, you can buy and sell to any part of the world. But in India especially, I think the awareness is more. It's been driven more by millennials who are willing to spend, experiment. It's a part of lifestyle. They have their own taste. And I'll give you certain examples which have been very, very surprising to us. So there are artworks of modern masters, and including Hussain, and the kind of works which we have experienced ourselves that not even one of the largest collectors of Hussain would buy or understand.
Okay.
So they're very unique works, museum quality works, but ugly looking to a naked eye.
Right.
So not only to a novice, there are very few people in Indian art who understand artworks, but it had gone to a young collector, a very young collector, who's still in early ages of collecting, but could recognize and spot that work.
Right.
That's a museum quality work, a very rare and important work.
Right.
And you have a lot of such things. I mean, we had a lounge in one of the hotels in Delhi, and we had a guest from, I think, Singapore, who wanted to be into art and never bought an artwork.
Okay.
So he used to meet me almost every day for some sort of an advice,
Okay.
but was reluctant to take a plunge. So he asked me, like, please help me what to do.
And what did you tell him?
I just asked him to view an artwork every day when he was here in India for another 30-40 odd days. So I was like, select an artwork, could be in the hotel, could be elsewhere, could be one of the ones displayed in our lounge.
Right.
But spend time with it, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can devote. Start looking at a work, you would understand it better than an art interpreter or a critic.
Right.
Sometimes even the artist, right? It won't happen to you at an early stage, but you will be able to connect with art
Yeah. You build
and
a
at least
connection.
start that language within, yourself.
Right.
And that made a difference, But he was like really fast. He had
Okay.
already acquired an artwork from a gallery.
Right.
He was very sure of what he wanted to do. It sounded
Interesting.
typically confused all this while, the entire
Right.
month. But he had that confidence.
Yeah.
He did undergo that change, that transformation. That's very subtle, right? Very
Yeah.
subconscious.
And it's also very personal. You and the art. It's
Yeah.
between you and the art.
So
yeah.
he didn't get that work, but he did understand, how you select a work,
Correct.
what you like, because in the beginning you don't understand what you like. That's how art is. So art basically, art is what you are, but
Right.
to reach that stage, it is a journey.
Oh,
So
beautifully
you
said,
basically
yes.
recognize yourself through that journey,
Yeah.
through
No,
those
this
artworks,
is
and it changes over time.
I mean, I think I'm in a loss of word though. How beautifully you've explained this one. So I think when I wanted to cover about the first timers, this could be a guide to them also. Like try to understand what connect that you can build with that artwork. Do you think you wanted spend some time, go to exhibitions and galleries and understand? So if somebody comes with you, let's say with a 5 lakh rupees or of 10,000 rupees of amount, what suggestion will you give him how to invest that rightly? And they want to enter into the art market.
See, with that kind of amount, I mean, there are various options, but I would recommend someone not to go straight for very important works. I mean, in India, there are still opportunities to collect where a senior contemporary or some master, at least a small work, can still be bought in that kind of amount. But I mean, I think that should be over a period of time after a journey is traveled. So I would suggest someone to go for an emerging artist,
Right.
one which you could easily relate to. Whatever the purpose of the acquisition is, could be the aesthetics, could be financial value, future investment, or could be decking up your house or something,
Right.
or a gift, but you should acquire something which you like. So
Right.
what a lot of people do not realize is when you're spending that kind of amount, there are certain categories where it's considered as a spend. So
Okay.
people have a hitch that it could be a loss, or is
Right.
it highly priced or whatever.
Right.
But with artworks, that's a base price, so you can't go wrong in future,
Right.
right? Especially if it's an aesthetically strong work
And
and you like.
Right.
Any emerging artist,
Right.
but something which has strong aesthetics, which again you would need guidance. You're interested in that work, you like that work.
Correct.
It gives that work a meaning. There's a personality behind it.
You have a story to
who's
tell
liked
about
it.
it. Yeah.
So go for that, I would say. So I mean, financially speaking, there's a huge upside possible over time, but with those kind of valuations, it's unlikely it would go down. Secondly, this is an asset because this is for generations.
Right.
So, I always suggest people to treat it as a family jewel.
Right, as an
So
investment.
there's a difference between gold and jewelry and real estate and house.
Right.
So they're the same things technically.
Right.
But jewelry is something which is connected to your family, you're emotionally attached to it. Similarly, when you buy a house, obviously you'll want future potential to be in that place, right, that everyone wants.
Correct.
But you buy what you like and it becomes a family for generations. So I think an artwork should be dealt that way. Whenever you sell an asset, generally, house and jewelry are the last ones.
Right.
The things go
Right.
really wrong.
Beautifully said.
But
yeah.
that's how it's in the West. They don't sell
Yeah.
their artworks.
Right.
And artworks has saved a lot of finances also. Lehman Brothers, the famous bank, when it got dissolved,
Right.
they got a lot of money by auctioning their art. Hundreds of millions were raised through selling their own collection.
A lot of people who buy art may not be buying it for the aesthetic value, but also for the investment. They may not be an art lover, but then they know what value it holds.
I think many of them are. In fact, the art market has been dominated mostly by investors, which is now fast changing because you have a lot of genuine collectors now flooding the market.
Right.
But yes, there are a lot of investors, and I think there's no harm because this is something which is a multi-purpose thing in a layman's language. You can enjoy, you can learn, you can flaunt, you can gift, and make most out of the appreciation. So that appreciation could be financial, could be in name of the artist, could be anything. So I think it's a multi-purpose thing. But I would encourage only long-term investments so that you're willing to enjoy or hold on to the artwork.
Right.
This is how you build a collection and a portfolio. Art is not for short-term trading, even though there are short-term gains to be made.
Right.
But you ought to have a deeper understanding of it.
And how does Conferro helps in understanding your needs? And
So we do a lot of research, and that's one of the things we had always a vision for. Something we introduced way back, I think, more than two decades back, because not a lot of research was coming in, and we did research not only on aesthetics, but on the market trends, investment potential, the graphs, etc. So people from various backgrounds can understand the history and the future of the artist,
Right.
and what the current stage of the journey is. So a lot of research reports go out. We handhold people and help them build a collection. And generally it's a sort of mix of things, from
Correct.
masters to contemporaries, emerging artists, so as to complete a collection and the understanding, which also is also a diversified portfolio for an investor as well. But you need to understand the aesthetics behind it, what you should take care of while buying,
Right.
the provenance of it, which also adds value to things.
Absolutely.
Also, what heritage should go, the curation of your collection is very important, which we guide people. In collectibles, there are a lot of curatorial aspects. So when it comes to valuation, suppose it's a 100 rupee piece and there's another 100 rupee piece. If it's well curated, it could be 1100 together,
Right.
not necessarily 200.
Right.
So that curatorial aspects has a lot of
Absolutely
significance.
understood. Yeah. Right.
In art, even more so in collectibles. So
Correct.
that's what we sort of suggest to them.
Like a rare gramophone with the perfect.
So I'll give you an
vinyl
example when you
match,
talk
yeah.
about say gramophone.
Right.
There's certain very rare models of gramophone, and we have those models vintage ads as well.
Right.
So it forms a good curation.
Correct.
I've got Homi Baba's collections pocket watches,
Right.
and we have an archive of his history. His coverage, his plane
Right.
crash. So there are a lot of curatorial aspects, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Same, you talk about publications, vintage ads, actual objects. So a lot of stories, interrelated things which can be curated.
Right.
Some things even with artworks. So
Yeah.
I mean, they artworks which have architecture, abstract things in that. Some people
Right.
collect cars,
Right.
but if you have say vintage ads of those cars, it makes a good collection.
When you mention about art as a gifting, do you think it's the right thing to buy an art piece for somebody else, or it's a very personal thing? Do you think it's the right thing to buy maybe an artwork for an anniversary or birthday, or maybe some milestone?
I think a very, very, very nice thing, and I think you're asking a wrong person, because I'm very strongly biased against the typical things which people gift.
Right.
See, anyone can buy those perfumes and clothes and accessories and everything which people gift, right? So people do understand 80-90% of the gifting today is a formality.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't remember who's given what.
Correct.
It's a commodity which comes on that occasion, which you have to return as a favor next time. But with an artwork or a collectible, it's very, very important, because one, it's a unique thing, and someone has selected for you. It's uniquely made, which only you have.
Right.
So I personally think it's a very nice thing to acquire, and if you get it as a gift, nothing better. And
it's a very thoughtful gift.
And it's a very thoughtful gift, because someone has thought of you to acquire that.
Absolutely.
And you often have artworks which are customized. I got something for my wife in Egypt which had our initials, entire name in that language written.
Right.
So, that's only for us.
Some of the examples that you can gift.
I think folk and tribal art is again something which is also good for beginners.
Right.
I think one of the most prominently developing gifting category, I would say, back then. It's a very old art technique through natural stone colors. So if you read about it, it's very beautiful.
Right.
So I always, suggest people who acquire from us to gift it alongside the curatorial note. So people know its essence, the story behind how these things were developed.
Right.
And, a 40,000 artwork looks like at least a couple of lakh gifts.
Right.
And accessories do not hold that kind of a sentimental value.
Correct. It's
And then you're promoting the right segments, supporting the artist in that way.
And it's also for the beginners an introduction to collection.
Yes. There are a lot of creative things, out there. Small sculptures, a lot of creative things.
Right.
So people do enjoy that, that when you receive, open that, read about it.
Right.
So you feel elated, you feel special. So it's a nice way to treat people,
But then do you have to be selective that, I know this person is fond of music. Music is a form of art. Photography, form of art. Then it becomes the right candidate for you to give that.
Vinyls, I've not seen a person who would not like that. And I think these days, an original newspaper of that particular day when the person was born.
Right. Yes.
So that's something which, at least in India, you can't get anywhere. So that's, if you get that kind of a gift, which is not available, is for you.
That's very good.
People love celebs, for example. So you could gift a memorabilia, you could give a magazine featuring their history. So it's a piece of history, but something which you can enjoy and make most use of.
Previously, a lot of understanding of art came from either the inheritance or maybe visiting in the museums. For me, it was also from the popular TV show called Pawn Stars, where I was just amazed at how random things are such collectibles and hold such values. And those people had the collector's eye, where they used to, cherish a piece that was bought for such little amount, and back in their head they knew it holds so much of value. So, you tell me your early exposure to art. How did all the stories behind you starting to collect?
So the first piece was an artwork by S.H. Raza, an artist we very strongly and highly recommend. We've done a lot of works with him. So a small piece with a very nice old Raza I acquired from an international auction house. I was based in London only. And I had advisors from some people, but then I just liked the work.
Right.
It was quite unique. I didn't understand that work well, but I loved it even more when I started learn more about the artist. So just passed out of my college and got a very interesting valuation. And a few years down the line, I realized it very quickly, turned, I think thrice in value in just a couple of years.
Did it make you feel proud that it was the right purchase for a first
Yes,
purchase?
even more so when I started understanding the work more.
Right.
I did realize that the work is nice and unique and is very important, but not a deeper knowledge at that particular second.
Right.
But when I started looking more at the work and then lived with the work, it was a prized possession.
Right.
So something which you always remember that I had mixed feelings while acquiring
Purchasing,
that.
yeah. What age
I
was
think
it?
21, 22.
Okay, quite young.
And I think a couple of years down the line, I was very much into Razas
Right.
and the art in general. So that was a very interesting feeling. And then gradually into collectibles.
Right.
So as I stated previously, I was reluctant to get into it, mostly because I was still young. I thought
Yeah.
we're into artworks and they're very highly valued, one of the most complex art forms. So, vinyl is, and at that time it was just a few ₹100. But it's not about the value, it's about
Right.
once you start listening to it. That's an interesting story. We had a fairly large collection and I had sent a team to audit and archive the collection. And I realized over time that a lot of them are making excuses to go to that warehouse and those walls where those things were stored. So
Okay.
initially I didn't realize, people who wanted to come to office for logistical reasons rather than going a faraway place, but then started looking for excuses to go to that place. And then I got a word from people that, while archiving, they're also hearing those vinyls.
Oh.
So that interest is there.
Absolutely.
So, that's how people from different backgrounds, just conservations, normal admin operational guys, accountants, but you have those kind of things that, it makes you feel interested in those things when you
Curious and,
start listening to it.
Yeah. You were also mentioning about this bat that you have. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, so this I acquired during my initial auction days in London. It's an interesting bat signed by about close to 30 odd leading Bollywood celebs.
Right.
And it's a very nice history because the signatures were collated over quite a few years.
Yeah.
Because whenever they used to go out of India, London, to promote the films, had interviews with BBC. So they got it signed. And they had the signatures on the one single bat.
Curated art piece.
So over the years only,
Yeah.
across generations, and from Anupam Kher to
Right.
Shah Rukh and Deepika at that time.
Right.
So this was again a Bollywood event, and I bought this one because of what it is. It's a very unique one-off thing,
Right.
which you can't have everything of these sorts in one
Right.
single place or an object. Again, bat is something which I identify myself with, being a big cricket fan. So
Okay,
cricket plus
alright.
Bollywood is something which
Right.
we all love here in
Right.
India. And a very interesting story and provenance of how it was built, which is why I was quite keen on. And then this also went on to support a good cause of supporting children with BBC.
That's beautiful.
So I think that was something quite interesting, yes.
Yeah. While we're at it, let's cover a few misconceptions that people might have when acquiring art. Do you think art is only for elites? It's very expensive. You should have a lot of money to buy art, or maybe it's a waste investment. Would you like to throw some light on some of the myths?
Yes, typical misconceptions, including I would want to add, it's perceived as always difficult to understand.
Yeah.
So I think most of these are not right. And yes, certain categories or certain forms of art always take time. I mean, it needs some level of experience, journey, graduating it by looking at more and more works. But yes, there are a lot of artworks which one can admire,
Right.
understand, appreciate, collect. Not everything is available at a very high price. You don't need necessarily to start with leading masterpieces around. And art or collectibles, I think it's today more of something which is not only with the select few or elites as well. This is something which is gaining a wider recognition. It's a part of our lifestyle now, a part of a gifting culture. A lot of people are collecting. I
Right.
think it's indirect utility as well. So you need it at some point of time as well. And it's just a first time hitch. That's always there with anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tell people that we spend 20,000 easily at dinners today, easily 50K plus in gifting. 2-3 lakhs is also not uncommon these days. You can acquire quite a few pieces in the collection to begin with.
Right.
And that first piece is something which is a transformational thing, which gets into it. Once you delve into it, jump into it, then you start learning more about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, I mean, like we briefly discussed, that you don't have to be an art lover to be an art investor. I mean, investment, you can take it as your gold investment or maybe your property investment, real estate. It could be a part of your portfolio, maybe a 5 to 10% of your portfolio.
Yes, exactly. I mean, globally, the recommendation is 20% into art or art-related alternative investments. So a lot of these bankers, they often have art in their major financial research reports.
Right.
The recommendation is at least 5 to 10% into art.
Right.
Not only to sort of hedge or diversify the risk, but it also has their own opportunities. As we discussed, it's a family jewel.
Right.
It's an asset. So a part of portfolio has to be into it. It's again, the good thing is it's not related to the typical stock exchanges or gold. And art market has over 400-500-year-old history.
Right.
And it's if you see the most of the history, it's beaten most of the exchanges and asset classes.
Correct.
So it's one of the leading asset classes which holds a lot of opportunities, especially in India when it's still at a nascent stage comparatively. A lot of opportunities, and with these things, you especially in difficult times, you're safer with it. Money going into the right thing.
Right, absolutely. And then we can also talk about art funding, maybe art funding and art banking. How is it a trend, or I mean, people should look up to? Can they trade their art, essentially?
So I think two, three interesting things here. When it comes to say art and finance, I think it's very much integrated globally, because a lot of banks do recommend some form of an art advisory services to their clients, either directly or through experts. Virtually all major banks, investment banks and NBFCs and wealth management people do it. Increasing in parts of Asia as well, in India as well. The understanding is less, but that's what you want to improve here, right?
Right.
So that's a very important integral part of global finance, and there are a lot of institutions doing art lending.
Right.
That ecosystem of art lending is not here in India, predominantly because of the critical valuation point, which is to some extent subjective, because in stocks you have an outright exact price point.
Correct.
Here you have a range,
Right.
which often is open to interpretation, but with an expert knowledge, you can narrow down the gap there. But I mean, there are companies now which are lending against art, but I think a big fillip is coming through the NFT route.
Right.
Most of these institutions dealing in NFT are providing funding in exchange of tokens or artwork.
Right.
And lending is very, very easy because of the kind of ecosystem they've created. Has a lot of liquidity, and through blockchain they feel more secured as well. So a lot of lending globally is happening through blockchains now.
Okay, interesting. And also briefly, I want to cover the trust part. Should you be mindful about the platforms that you're purchasing the art piece from? Are there fraudulence involved? If you want to talk about that.
Yes, it's very important. A lot of things are happening and can happen, especially when a bigger money comes into play. So I think I always suggest people to acquire something which is an important or a published work, so it has its own history, and through that you acquire even a more significant, prominent work, which has strong aesthetics and even a strong future. It also goes for a much higher amount. More preferable artworks today are either the ones which are aesthetically strong or published, preferably both. Second is, yes, right platforms, but even the right provenance, the history of the artwork, because in most of these cases, especially in masters, the artist is no more. So
Right.
you need the right paperwork, provenance, understand the artwork as well. Just not the authenticity, but you should know what you're buying, the motive behind it. Do the basic diligence, speak to experts, read about the artwork, and then gradually you develop an eye of the artist and start learning more about it.
And I would also like to talk about the collectors in our country. I'll name a few: KIRAN, NADAR, ABHISHEK, PODDAR, SHALINI, PASSI. 3 different kind of collectors with 3 different approaches. I've just named 3 of them. There are many. How important are these in art ecosystem, collectors like these, and how are their approaches different from anybody else?
I think very important because most of the names are also running institutions which are helping the art ecosystem. I think they're doing the best, their best in terms of promoting things and creating the right infrastructure and ecosystem and right platforms for a lot of things to associate. And they've evolved over time, diversified into various things. And I've seen a lot of these journeys as well, gone through the same phase.
Right.
There's a learning, I'm sure they've experienced it. It's quite visible as well, which is also an example to budding collectors. So it's not a one-day's job.
Right, absolutely.
Collecting itself comes over a period of time, years and decades, and then creating and nurturing those institutions. We created a very large collection, so we also know what goes behind.
Right.
Acquisition might take a decade and an X amount of money, but there's things we're still archiving. It's an endless process, conserving, digitizing, safeguarding, authenticating,
absolutely.
and it is a process. There's a lot of expertise involved, and that's the kind of knowledge you share alongside those works.
Right.
When you put that knowledge alongside that particular piece or that collection, so that vinyl genre and segment grows and evolves from there. So I think that's very important because I think there's so much the government can do, which is why we've also been focusing on things like memorabilia and publications, which are very, very rare.
Yeah.
So much so that the knowledge is virtually not there.
Right.
Even the right institutions who are supposed to have archives are not holding on to it, at least in the right way. So that history is virtually wiped out.
Right, absolutely.
So to preserve that more than conservation is a very important thing, because by collecting, you also save that piece.
Right. So as we were discussing, India is a land of heritage. And a lot of Indian homes have things hidden inside that they don't know hold some value. It could be the rarest of the coin. We spoke a lot about gramophones. It could be a typewriter. It could be an old newspaper of certain date. If somebody finds something like that, how to identify that it holds some value? And what do you think people are actually sitting on? Are they missing out on a great investment, or they already own something like that?
So we often come across a lot of people, who are either of the two places, either have disposed of things and then realize it was of importance, or currently sitting on things and just want to get it valued. So there are like a lot of houses which had a lot of interesting things, historical objects, textiles, a lot of vinyl records. Often we find memorabilia, publications we all know we've destroyed, but yes, to some extent that as well, at least the important dates.
Right.
So we get a lot of such requests, and a lot of people feel very, very bad that some person in the family was wanting to keep it,
Right.
but so and so wanted to get
It was
rid of
collecting dust.
it. So this happens in every family.
Right.
I've seen that through as well.
Are there platforms to actually go and
See, very less,
tally?
but I would still say more and more in developing. For collectibles, quite less, which is what we have seen it as a challenge, as also as an opportunity.
Right.
But yes, I think one should also always hold on to these things. One is anyway a memory. It's a collectible item. One should be very proud of sitting on those things.
Right.
And it's a way to sort of increase the market as well. So I remember during my BBC interview in London, most of the questions were related to, suddenly people woke up that, oh, we have this memorabilia, we have this record, we have this. But yes, you get a lot of cars, a lot of furniture, a lot of interesting things, metal subjects, embroideries, textiles, pitchwise and stuff.
Give us a few keywords to look at. Maybe the year of manufacturing. Maybe it could be an old coin, or maybe rarest of this emblem on it, or a rare signature. Or what are the things that will help them identify the value?
I think it's very different with different objects, because it's just not being old which makes it more valuable. So coins again is a very deep market, and you have a lot of people collecting coins.
Right.
But not everything is too valuable. I mean, it depends on the history, the rarity, the sort of time when these things, these coins were printed and then introduced.
The material used, the metal used. Yeah.
Which kingdom, the story behind it. When was this form first introduced? Same with other forms, as I said. That's where the awareness is not there. People basically want to know the stuff lying around in trunks, often still in drawing rooms.
Right, absolutely.
Are they valuable or not? But if it's good condition, if it's really interesting, artistic, possibly vintage, if it's related to an event or to a history or to an interesting collection, I think that adds on to the entire value and the significance of it.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody watching, they must just not throw that into the bin or give it to the bhangar wala. Just
Yes.
have a
Even if
deep
something's
look
not
at
of
it,
value
yeah.
today,
Yeah.
it might be tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if it's interesting, worthy of storing, or you have an emotional connect with it, or tomorrow someone else can have, I think it's good to preserve that. So holding on to such things, I think it's a very nice feeling. Yeah.
Not just nostalgic, but then
Yes.
yeah. And before we move to our last segment, which is the rapid fire, I would want you to quickly take us through Conferro, the offerings, and what are the things and services that you offer.
So we do actually all kinds of collectibles and fine arts. We started with fine art, where predominantly major modern masters is what we advised. We deal in only selected recommendations, where we've done a lot of research and invested our money into the collection, build that collection over time. So, if I'm recommending or advocating a particular artist, artwork or art in general, the first question is, have I been investing?
Right.
So if I've, painstakingly built that collection with that kind of investments, I think anyone else would have more conviction into it, with the kind of effort, time, experience involved into it. Second is, I know we take a lot of time and effort in research before we get the name out and recommend to
Right.
clients.
Right.
We only deal in selected names. But yes, every single recommendation, fortunately, have yielded really good results.
Right.
The focus has predominantly been the underlying thing, which is the aesthetics. You can't compromise on that.
Absolutely.
Even if the trends are something else, the base has to be strong. So an underlying value for an artwork is the core aesthetics of the artwork.
Right.
And next comes the rarity and future potential as well.
Correct.
The journey of the artist, which series to collect, which artworks to collect, what is the good time and valuation to collect, if someone wants to acquire something else, is it good time to offload? So all that recommendations and guidance, that handholding is there. We also sort of handhold in terms of the right amount to begin with.
Right.
So
Beginners.
should not necessarily be high. If you're beginning, it could be a few million rupees. You can acquire masters, you can acquire a lot of other senior contemporary works. A lot of emerging artists now who's doing like really great work, worth looking at, and available at a very reasonable price,
Right.
which offer a huge upswing in future, but also to take part in new art forms, supporting those artists in their journey. We do a lot of traditional tribal art, miniatures as well, Tanjore school, but something which is either rare, very old. So we deal only in old Tanjore.
Okay.
Then a lot of other collectible items, vintage publications, which again has grown into one of the largest collections in the private space of the world. More than 300,000 vintage newspapers, 100,000 books and magazines, about 20 odd million vintage ads. Then we do a lot of other vintage, segments like watches, cars, memorabilia, antiquities, and other stuff. So virtually all segments: furniture, vases, decorative stuff. A part of it is global, and some of it, like memorabilia, is predominantly focused on the Indian segment, because we feel it's still very undervalued.
So you've spent a lot of time in London, where you were growing up and you were studying, and then we also held your first auction there, 100 Years of Bollywood. Tell me more about what kind of collectibles do you have based out of London?
So a lot of objects from that time. We've got clocks, we've got makeup boxes, we've got furniture, we've got cutlery, British silver again, something I'm very fond of. So apart from that collection, and vintage cars again, something which is very interesting, an industry which has been there for long, and you get really nice, good cars with interesting stories. Unlike here in India, where we've not preserved much, and you don't necessarily get the right to genuine cars until they come in from certain collections. So you've got Bentleys and Rolls Royce, 100 years old,
dating back
Phantoms, especially 20s, quite rare.
Right.
The condition is impeccable. They have a very vibrant restoration industry. You get those original parts available. The provenance is very interesting. There's a history backing to it, coming from interesting collections as well. Something which I recommend strongly to clients, especially here in India.
That's going to be
because
very
access to
interesting,
good collections, good cars with the right provenance, authenticity, and history is not there. So that's again a very interesting segment which people do like, and I think the laws have been relaxed recently, which is why there's sort of increased activity, and you find a lot of people started acquiring from there. But I think with a little bit of knowledge, they can, and the right informed decisions, they can acquire something really interesting, even at prices lesser than what they're paying here.
Yeah, that's one of the most unique things that you can own actually, because it's so far back in history. It's not going to be remade, and to own cars is something I think a lot of people dream of.
Many of them are artworks in themselves.
Right.
You get to know about those times, but a very interesting feel to be just standing right to it. Forget about sitting inside or driving.
Right.
And there's again a vibrant ecosystem with a lot of rallies and events. Conditions are beautiful. So yes, I mean that passion is there with people in general to sort of collect and preserve heritage. A lot of interesting stories behind those cars. They've gone through those journeys. A lot of them published and a part of various events and rallies. That's something which I think such things along with other collectibles should be forming a part of in collection. Collectors should look at that as well.
Absolutely. And could you tell me about the name Conferro Heritae? Where do you get that from?
It's a Latin name which means collating and collecting together. And if you see the sort of English part of it is closer to conferring.
Right.
So I think it's a mix of two, but we've kept that with that vision.
Interesting. I would just move on to the rapid fire, the last segment of our podcast.
So the trickiest part, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be quick when you're answering these. Which artwork or artist has shocked you the most in terms of price or demand?
Manjeet Baba and Gaiton as well.
A work that looked completely ordinary to most people, but actually was extraordinarily expensive.
I would say a Gaitonde canvas. It looks very, very simple to a naked eye.
And is there a piece you currently have your eye on?
Looking at Razan from his 60s and 70s, a couple of works.
Right. The most undervalued collectible category in India right now, the one nobody's paying attention to.
I think quite a few. I would say watches, memorabilia, for example, antiquities, objects. But if you want me to pick one out of these, I would say vintage publications.
Great. The most unusual place you've seen great art at?
Pahari miniatures and inscriptions, even at remote places. So I found that quite interesting.
Great. If you could own one iconic artwork anywhere in the world, what would it be?
I would go for Rembrandt's self-portraits.
Right.
Yes, very, very fascinating, very deep.
Great. That was a quick one, huh? An art piece that you own that you will never let go of.
I like Jyoti Swaroop, especially his Inner Jungle series, something very close to us.
Right.
I've got a really good collection of it, and I think some of his abstracts are very dear to me, which we like to hold on forever.
Great. What else are you passionate about except art?
I like design, especially what's coming out in the last few years. A lot of interesting things.
And lastly, is there a piece in your collection that you've never been able to fully explain, or in fact you never found words to describe how beautiful or unique it is?
I think many of these would be countless, but yes, I can name an emerging artist very recently into my collection in my room, and also there's another work I got from Egypt last year. Very vibrant at the same time, very engaging. Sort of a multifaceted, sort of layered approach towards it. Very complex, but I think quite engaging.
All right. Thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure.
here. Those were some amazing insights, and thank you for what you're doing with art and preserving it. It was amazing to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.